Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate Oman Television. First, the headlines. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation affirms the completion of 89% of its readiness trials for Muscat International Airport. The tender board approves a total of 55 million Omani Riyals worth of projects and additional development works in various fields. And 23rd Muscat International Book Fair 2018 starts on 21st of the current month. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent equal greetings to the President of the Republic of Serbia, Alexander Vučić, on the occasion of his country's National Day. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation affirmed the completion of 89% of its readiness trials for Muscat International Airport. All the technical and administrative trials are planned to be completed on the 14th of March. This came at a press conference organized by the authority for the movement plan for the new airport. The press conference shed light on organizational preparations for the issue of necessary licenses for the airport as per international operational requirements. The new airport will receive the first airplane at 6 p.m. on the 20th of March 2018. The last trial for the new airport will be on the 14th of March. The tender board, during its first meeting this year, approved a total of 55 million Omani Riyals worth of projects and additional development works in various fields. One of the most prominent projects was the construction of the Civil Servants Retirement Fund building at the airport heights in Muscat Governorate, the construction of drainage channels on the Sultan Qaboos Street in Al Khawair area, and the additional works for the design and implementation of the improvement and pavement project of the road leading to Al Sifa village in Muscat Governorate. In addition to the additional works for the establishment of the fish market in Wilaya Matrah in Muscat Governorate, and the additional works on the project of establishing the National Museum in Hayat An-Naam. The council was chaired by His Excellency Dr. Rashid bin Al-Safi Al-Huraybi, Chairman of the Tender Board. "783 publication houses will take part in Muscat International Book Fair 2018 on its 23rd edition. That was revealed at the press conference held by the main committee of Muscat International Book Fair. The committee added that the book fair will start on 21st of the current month till the 3rd of March 2018. The integrated halls will be located for cultural activities, besides an extended corner for children cultural programs. The committee stressed that this year's book fair will be showcased differently and will gather the largest segment of publishers with purposeful subjects. It also mentioned that the coming fair will launch 35% of new publications and will provide application on mobile phones depicting the book fair's publications and books. The Strategic Cultural Heritage Program at the Research Council organizes today the National Seminar on Documentary Cultural Heritage Program, Memory of the World as a Model, in the National Museum in the presence of researchers and those interested in cultural heritage and its conservation. The National Seminar Program includes a series of various working papers that provide a variety of titles in the fields of the seminar, with a group of Omani researchers from a number of relevant bodies. The Sultan has recently succeeded in listing the first Omani manuscript, Ma'dan al-Asrar fi Ilm al-Bahr, for Nasr bin Ali al-Khuduri in the World Memory of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. The strategic objectives of the program include providing a research environment conducive to heritage research, as well as achieving research excellence, capacity building, and knowledge transfer. The two-day communications and reporting workshop began today with participation of more than 25 representatives of sovereign wealth funds worldwide. The workshop is being organized by the State General Reserve Fund in cooperation with the International Forum of Sovereign Wealth Funds, IFSWF. The event brings together communications professionals of the SWFs along with the international consultants for presentations and in-depth discussions on several topics of interest. In the workshop, the participants discussed a range of issues of concerns, including crisis and reputation management, building robust strategic communication strategy, investment-specific communications, and effective corporate and investor relations. The meeting also provided an opportunity for participants and members to share and exchange their experiences for the benefit of SWF's communications.
The IFSWF, the International Forum of Sovereign Wealth Funds, is a network of 33 sovereign wealth funds from around the world. Our mission is to promote best practice and good governance throughout our membership through applying the Santiago Principles, which are 24 generally accepted principles and practices for sovereign wealth fund management. As part of that work, we hold regular workshops around operations to improve, to help spread best practice and learn from our peers. And this communications and reporting workshop is a very important part of our program this year to help sovereign wealth funds both improve their communications with the outside world and to their stakeholders.
Still to come, our news bulletin. The third annual festival for Arabian camels continues in the Wilayah of Aden. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Kuwait's Emir said today that his nation will give $1 billion in loans and $1 billion in direct investments to help rebuild Iraq. A stunning donation, as only a generation ago Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. Sheikh Sabah Ahmed al-Sabah shows the deep interest his nation has in making sure Iraq becomes a peaceful, stable country after the war against the Daesh group and the chaos that followed the 2003 US-led invasion of Baghdad. Iraq needs far more donations today, the last day of an appeal for funding to come forward at the Kuwait conference. Overall, Iraq is seeking $88.2 billion in aid from donors. The war against the Daesh group displaced more than 5 million people in Iraq, only half of whom have returned to their hometowns. The United States under President Donald Trump seems uninterested in directly investing in Iraq's reconstruction. U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi signed an aid agreement in Amman today. The agreement pledged to boost aid in Jordan by more than $1 billion over the next 5 years, in spite of U.S. President Donald Trump's repeated threats to punish countries that don't agree with U.S. policy in the Middle East. Jordan voted in December to condemn the U.S. for recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and it criticized Washington for withholding Palestinian refugee funds. But U.S. officials say the administration will give Jordan $1.275 billion annually until 2022. That's $275 million more than the current level. Britain's Defence Secretary said the UK does not want to take back two British Daesh group members caught in Syria, despite US appeals for countries to deal with citizens who have become foreign fighters. Gavin Williamson said in Brussels today that the two, part of a notorious British cell dubbed the Beatles, turned their back on Britain when they left to commit their hateful crimes. Williamson made these remarks at NATO defense ministers arrived in Brussels for the two-day meeting. The German defense minister, Ursula von der Leyen, added that it was time to stand by all of Iraq, including the Kurdish regional government, in their reconstruction efforts. The German government recently came under fire for selling military equipment to NATO ally Turkey after it became known Turkey was using German-built Leopard tanks in its drive against Kurdish fighters in northern Syria. US President Donald Trump has threatened to terminate the US-South Korea trade deal, saying it's incompetent and that somebody could have made a deal like that. Trump's remarks yesterday came after General Motors said it will close an underutilized factory in Gyeongsan, South Korea, by the end of May as part of the restructuring of its operations. Back in the Sultanate, would-be astronauts in aluminium-coated suits venture out to rovers from sprawling camp in the Sultanate of Oman's barren desert, a simulation by European venture aiming to one day help humans survive on Mars. And here is a report.
It may look like a scene from a science fiction movie, but these astronauts clad in pressure simulating suits had their feet firmly on Earth, in Oman's barren desert more specifically. They're taking part in simulation training, aiming to one day help humans survive on Mars.
We need a place that looks as much as Mars as possible. And we found it here in Oman. It's a beautiful place, but it's most of all a scientifically useful place and operationally useful place.
Run by the Austrian Space Forum with backing from the Omani government, the Ahmadi-18 Mars Analog mission brings together researchers, inventors, space professionals and enthusiasts, all with their sights set on the Red Planet. In early February, US billionaire Elon Musk launched the world's most powerful rocket towards an orbit near Mars. In this remote corner of the Arabian Peninsula, the European-led project is far less flashy, but still looks to answer major questions.
Once we will go to Mars and we will stay on Mars, we will have to use the resources we find on Mars, because we cannot bring everything from Earth. That is called in situ resource utilization. So we have to use the things we find there, first of all to sustain life there, to sustain missions there, and then in the longer run maybe also for other things.
Everything is custom built to resemble the constricted movement astronauts would feel on Mars. Along with the training, the team have reflected on other issues stemming from space exploration. Since 2015, the US and Luxembourg have been creating legal frameworks that could eventually allow mining in space. The EU has yet to take a position on the controversial topic.
Mining comes into a bit of a legal loophole where it's not clear for all organizations whether it is legally feasible or not. But independent of that, I think it's a very interesting idea. I think definitely we should look into using resources that we can maybe gather from asteroids that are not available on Earth or not as frequent on Earth.
Meanwhile, these volunteer researchers are set to explore the Omani desert, looking to set foot on the coveted Red Planet and turn science fiction into reality.
Back to some more local news. Exchanging cordial conversations and discussed range of matters of concern were the center of talks between His Excellency Mohammed bin Nasser al-Rasbi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Defense, and retired General Gregory B. S. Martin, Senior Fellow of the National Defense University, in support of the Pinnacle, Capstone, and Keystone program, who is currently visiting the Sultanate. Rear Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis al-Raisi, Commander of the Royal Navy of Oman, received today a delegation from the U.S. Capstone program, headed by retired General Gregory S. Martin, Senior Fellow for the National Defense University, in support of the Pinnacle, Capstone, and Keystone program, who is currently visiting the Sultanate. The two sides exchanged cordial conversations and viewpoints on several matters of common concern. The Royal Army of Oman, represented by elements of the Sultan of Oman Parachutes, Musandam Security Force, the Sultan of Oman Artillery, and Engineering Services of Sultan's Armed Forces (DAF), today carried out the demonstrations of the joint exercise Mountain Storm under the auspices of Major General Matar bin Salim al-Blushi. RAW Commander units of British forces also took part in that exercise. The demonstration took place in the RAW Combat Training Unit in mountainous and built-up areas in the Jabal Akhdar in the Governorate of Al-Dakhiliya. This exercise comes within the framework of training plan adopted by RAW Command in order to raise the level of training and combat performance among the RAW personnel. The Department of Public Relations and Information of Sultan Qaboos University, SQU, launches a new media identity today under the patronage of His Excellency Abdulaziz bin Mohammed Al Rawas, His Majesty the Sultan's Advisor for Cultural Affairs. During the ceremony, the new publications of the department was launched, namely the Arabic Bulletin Iqra and English Bulletin Imprint, the e-platform Anwar, which will serve as an electronic newspaper that seeks to disseminate everything related to the SQU, from stories that take place in the university. The development of this identity comes to create a positive and interactive media content that is consistent with the vision, mission, goals, and values of SQU, and to provide contemporary content focusing on the stories and experiences of the associates in the institution, of students and employees. The inauguration ceremony witnessed the opening of a mini exhibition documenting the media activities at SQU since 1990s. In its 7th edition, Al Ru'ya newspaper uncovered its economic award for 2018. This year, the award will include a variety of categories and sectors. The award targeted government, private, and foreign investment projects. There are also prizes for the Best Chief Executive Officer and the Best Social Responsibility Project. The award aimed to encourage ventures owners and entrepreneurs to develop the performance of their projects. The Royal Oman Police arrested a number of hoaxers who tried to sell fake gold. They deceived their victims that they found a treasure of gold. They telephoned some locals, attracting them to sell gold at good price. They were arrested in the wilaya of Sib after ROP received calls from citizens. The criminals came on a visit visa. And the third annual festival for Arabian camels continued in the activities Al Bashair Racetrack in the wilaya of Adam. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Rahbi has more details in the following reports.
Thrill and excitement continued the third annual festival for Arabian camels. In the first round, Hurriya, owned by Salim bin Ahmed Al-Amri from the United Arab Emirates, came first to win the first vehicle allocated for Yuda category. Sam, owned by Sultan bin Saeed Al-Nuaimi from the United Arab Emirates, came first in the second round, winning the second vehicle allocated for Ida category. In the first round of the Thanaya, set for 8 kilometers, Iltimas, owned by Saeed bin Muhammad bin Salim al-Wahibi from the Sultanate, came first, winning the first vehicle of this category. While in the second round, Shaheen, owned by Saeed bin Rashid al-Rashidi from the United Arab Emirates, came first, winning the second vehicle. In the first round of the Hul and Zamul category, Sada, owned by Humaid bin Salim al-Wahibi from the Sultanate, came first, while Haylan, owned by Ali bin Nasser al-Nuaimi from the United Arab Emirates, won the second round. At the end of the race, keys of vehicles were distributed to the winners of the top places. This festival will continue until Thursday. For the Sultanate of Oman Television English News, Saleh Mukhalfan al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhiliya, Governorate.
Now for the general forecast, clear skies will prevail over the Sultanate with chances of low clouds and fog late at night. And over the governorates of Lahira and Al Brahmi, winds will be northerly to northwesterly to moderate, and seas will be moderate to rough with a maximum wave height of 2.5 meters. This is the Sultan of Oman Television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation affirms the completion of 89% of its readiness trials for Muscat International Airport. The Tender Board approves a total of 55 million Omani Riyals worth of projects and additional development works in various fields. And the 23rd Muscat International Book Fair 2018 starts on 21st of the current month. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, thanks for watching. Good night.